Hello everyone, welcome to Learn Photoshop. My name is Felix Blaze. Today we are going to look at selection tools, but with the selection tools specifically, we are talking about the rectangular marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool, single row marquee tool, and then single column marquee tool. These are the four tools we are going to talk about in this video. If you have not watched our previous video on Photoshop tools, make sure you do and watch. I have already explained to you the move tool. You can click on the top there and watch that one. I have explained to you the artboard. You can also click there and watch that. Today you will move to the next set of tool. Now let's start with the rectangular marquee. The shortcut for this tool is M. So you can just press M on your keyboard and it will move to that particular area. So with the rectangular marquee tool, according to Photoshop, makes a selection in the shape of a rectangle. So if you want to make a selection, that's why we call them a selection tool. We want to make sample like this. Okay, so let me zoom out so that you see what I'm talking about here. So with this one, I just want to make selection of this particular rectangle. I'll just go for the marquee tool and do this selection. So as you can see, I have selected this and okay. So every tool comes with different options. So when you come to the options bar here, we have this particular shape which says make a new selection. This one say add to a selection. This one says subtract from a selection, and this one says intersect from a selection. So I have made a rectangular selection. If I want to add another rectangular selection from this particular design, I'll just click on this one, the add selection. Then I can add it here, and you can see I have added another selection. If I want to subtract a selection, I can just go to this point, okay, and then I'll just subtract this area, and you can see we don't have that area in this selection. And if you want to intersect, let's say I want to intersect this particular selection together with this, I'll just click on this and Photoshop will find the intersection point for both selection, and you can see we have the selection point here. So that is the rectangular marquee tool, and we call something feather. Okay, now with the feather, let us come here. The feather soften the edges of your design. Okay, you see the feather now is 0. Okay, let's go for a new selection, and then let me click on this particular layer and then go for the rectangular marquee tool again. Then with the feather set to 0, let us make our selection. Look at the edges very well. Look at the edges. Okay, it is very hard. Now let us make a new selection and change the feather from 0 to 10. So I'm going to make that selection. You can see this. Look at this one. The edges has been curved. Okay, actually it is not about making a curved edge, it is about making a soft edges. Okay, so with this one, let us look at something here. This one is very hard, this one is very soft. Now press on the backspace and look at something here. Let us press Ctrl D. If you make a selection and you want to deselect it, you can press Ctrl D, or better still, you come to select and click on deselect, and then the selection will go. So look at this one. You can see the edges are very hard. Okay, very hard selection. You can't see any blurriness here, but you can see this edge is very blurry, ranging from this side to this side. They are very blurry. So that is the nature of the feather. So this is the feather. If you increase the feather, it means you are going to have a blurry edge. Okay, depending on what you want to do, then you set the feather. I hope you have understood the feather here. Now let us come to the anti-alias, and you can see the anti-alias doesn't work in rectangular marquee tool. It only works with, listen, it only works with elliptical marquee tool and other selection tools as well. So that is that for this one. And you see we have another one here. We have the normal, we have the fixed ratio, we have the fixed size. Let us look at that one as well. Okay. So when you look at this particular area here, if you want to, maybe let's come here. If I want to make a selection, okay, on this particular person, I can choose normal. The normal will create a normal size for me. I can just create any size I want for the selection, okay. But if you choose the fixed ratio, the fixed ratio is going to work based on the ratio you give to. So it says 1:1. So if it is 1:1, it means we are going to create something like a square. There's no way we can create a rectangle with this ratio. Let's look at this. You see, if I expand this to the down, I'm still getting a square shape because the ratio says 1:1. Okay, if I change this ratio to 2, means I'm going to get the width to be 2 against the height, which is 1. And that one, it means I can make it means my width will be bigger than my height, so we can have a rectangular shape in this particular instances. So you see, even if I come down, it's not going to work like that because I have restrained it to 1 and you have this rectangular shape. Okay, then another one here is the fixed size. So the fixed size, you just give the size. Okay, so already we have the 64 by 64 and we know this is a square dimension. You can also say 90 by 64. This is a fixed size. No matter what, you can't make any selection greater than this particular dimension here. You see, it has already created that dimension for me. I can't create my own dimension because the dimension is already here. That is the fixed size here. We will talk about the select and mask in different topic on each one. So all these tools here, okay, possesses these particular options here. So I'm not going to explain that again. So with the elliptical marquee tool, let us look at the definition from Photoshop. Photoshop says it makes oval or circular selections. So I have this particular logo here. I have this particular logo here, and you can see that we have this particular oval shape here, oval like shape here. And if I want to make a selection of that particular shape, I can just click at this point here. Right now here is I will hold the shift plus the alt key. I'll resize this, so I'm going to have this particular selection. So this is the selection. So if you want to just, you see, I have been able to make a selection around this particular shape, okay, by just choosing the center of my oval. So with this one selected, I can choose to delete this portion by pressing backspace here. Because I've not selected the logo, it's not going to work, so I need to select that one, then backspace, and it's not going to work. Why? Because this is a smart object. We'll talk about that later, so I just need to rasterize this and then and press backspace, and I've deleted everything. Backspace, and it is gone. I can also choose not to delete it but fill it with a black by pressing Alt plus backspace, and it will fill it with the foreground color. Okay, now with, so let's press Ctrl D so that we have this selection. Now let us look at the anti-alias. We have already I've already discussed with you the further and then other options here with the anti-alias. Okay, when I draw this, I'm going to draw this elliptical section here, then I will fill it with black, then I'm going to uncheck this, deselect everything. Okay, I've unchecked the antialias, then I'm going to make another selection here, then I'll fill it with black. Okay, I'll fill it with black, then I'll deselect this. Now let's look at this. The function of anti-alias is it's smoothing the edges of any elliptical, okay, or any selection that you make. It's smoothing the edges. So look at this, let me zoom out. Look at this very well. Look at the edges here. We are just going to do some comparison here. Look at the edges, very very smooth. Okay, very smooth. Look at this. Very very bad. And see, this edge is not smooth as compared to this. Okay, so that is that about anti-alias. Okay, and one thing about the selection is that, let's come back to this particular image here. I can just make this elliptical selection, either elliptical selection or rectangular selection by pressing M. Okay, I'll just make selection of the face. And if I want to brighten the face of this particular image, because my selection has been restricted to the face, this is what is going to happen. Okay, so let us go to the brightness and then increase the brightness. And you can see I don't need to use this tool to clip it. It will only brighten the face. If I want to reduce the brightness, it will only reduce the brightness on the face. So that is one important of the selection tool when it comes to that context. Okay, so that is the marquee tool. Okay, now let us look at the single row marquee tool and then the single column marquee tool. They are almost like the same thing here. They also make a selection, but their selection is based on the pixels. They will select only single row pixels. Okay, so let's zoom out this image here and look for the pixels. So a pixel is like one box. Okay, let's zoom out to the normal. Let me make my single row selection, and you see like this. Now let's zoom out to this point. Okay, let's go for the zoom. So as you can see, this is a box. This is one square box, and you can see the single row has selected one box, one pixels. Okay, so it has selected one row of boxes. Okay, when you zoom out of every image, you will get what we call the pixel. So these pixels, this box come together to form the image that you see. Okay, and if you want to do a selection of a column, you just go here and choose single column. When I click on this, you see it has selected a single column. Okay, single column here. So that is that about the rectangular marquee tool, elliptical marquee, single row marquee tool, single column marquee tool. I hope this video has helped you a lot. And if you want to learn more about the rest of the tools, this is your channel. So what you need to do is just subscribe, like the videos, and if you have any question, feel free drop it in the comment and we'll talk about it. You can also join my Telegram page by following the link in the description so that we will discuss more on that area. I'll see you in my coming tutorials, which is another set of selection tool, very powerful and most common selection tool used in Photoshop. My name is Felix Bliss. Makramuina. Bye bye.